Don't look back because the market is closed. Good Monday afternoon, everyone. Tyler Herriage here with you for today's VRA Investing Podcast. We hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday out there. We know Friday was a little less than ideal for our markets, much less than ideal, actually. But we hope you all still had a great long weekend. And just a quick reminder to kick off this podcast today, you can now also find us on all video streaming platforms as well. Actually, our videos are now on Spotify even too. But we're on YouTube, Vertical Research Advisory, VRA. We're also on Rumble, which we're a little bit newer to Rumble now, and we want to continue to support that platform here. Any platform that is for censorship, like YouTube, is something we don't want anything to do with. That channel's just been open a little bit longer here, but we prefer to support platforms that support patriots, that support our country, that support our First Amendment rights here in the United States. We're big believers in that, and big believers that censorship only exacerbates problems when it comes to topics out there that people want to learn about. If you're censoring research behind different things with coronavirus, different things with the stock market even, different views politically, that is not the right way to solve a problem. As a matter of fact, I would argue that it actually turns a lot of people towards that way of thinking. I'm a big believer that the only way to really change people's minds is not to censor people, is to expose them to more information. When you have questions, answer their questions. Don't call them idiots. Don't censor the people that they listen to. Go on and have an open conversation about that. Big believer in that here myself. Obviously, as a country, we were founded upon that principle. So we want to go out there and support platforms like Rumble. So go find us there. Like I said, we're a little bit newer on that platform. Only a few videos now. We'll get more and more up there as we create them. But you can find us at Vertical Research Advisory or VRA Letter on there. So yeah, come and join us. We love being here with you every day for the podcast, and thank you for being here with us day in and day out. Kip and I both love what we do very much. So on that note, let's take a look about what's going on to kick off this week. Got a good amount to cover here, so let's jump right in. Our markets were able to bounce back nicely today after our little mini crash that we saw on Friday. The big sell-off, yes, but really it was the fears about this new coronavirus insanity variant. And really it's just the flavor of the week for news as we see it here. Our predictions have remained the same since March of 2020. Coronavirus is here. This new variant, Omicron, will prove to just be another mutation of what has been the coronavirus tyranny since day one, used to scare people into submission, scare people into taking their vaccines, locking themselves in their homes, and not seeing their family or friends. We've said this since day one, though. That's been the story with coronavirus. This virus poses little to no risk to 99% of the U.S. population. But the tyranny that it gives the ability to our government is here to stay with us, and really will be here until we the people decide that we've had enough. They're going to see how far they can push this thing, how many new variants they can release, and there's so many different interesting timing factors that, this new variant affects kids. Interesting timing there that they're trying to vaccinate kids, trying to roll out vaccine mandates for kids. Interesting timing, don't you think? And of course, as well, this is from South Africa. Well, Africa has had a much less big of a problem than other countries, despite low vaccination rates. Well, how is that possible? I love that quote early on from an Amish guy. I actually just saw this video again recently where a news reporter masked up goes into an Amish community and asks, why do you think that the coronavirus hasn't hit the Amish community as hard as other communities? And he answered, because we don't have TVs. And that has been the story of this virus since the beginning. So our advice remains the same to anybody out there. If you really want to protect yourself from coronavirus as a whole, make sure that you turn off your TV first of all. Go outside. Get sunlight. Even if you don't want to be around people, if you have comorbidities, whatever it may be, of course we support you in every way. Your body, your choice, 100%. If you want to stay isolated, that's great. Just don't tell other people how to live their lives. But go out regardless. Get some sunlight. Get vitamin D. Go work out. Eat a healthy diet. Take vitamins, right? Look up some of these protocols that doctors, actual medical doctors, not the quacks that you see on TV, that those people are recommending. Vitamins that have been in our food for since humanity began. That is the real answer. And finally, like I said, turn off the TV and ignore the bureaucrats who want to tell you how to live your life. Go out there and live your life. So with that being said, it's also very interesting timing here about this new variant that after tremendous pushback on these vaccine mandates from all over the place, from medical professionals, from truck drivers, from union workers, the White House has now announced that they will stop enforcing their jab mandates, which are really coming up on the day that it's supposed to be implemented by, like the hard deadline, which they've pushed back a couple times. Now they're saying they're not going to try to really enforce it at all. It started with OSHA, and now the White House is saying the same. This comes just after the United Auto Workers, the UAW, said that they will not be enforcing vaccine mandates. They will encourage members to disclose their vaccine status, but they will not require it. A number of other big unions and workers' organizations, big companies, have all taken this step as well. But of course, the timing is really interesting here. And Kit pointed this out today. He's a little bit of a he's got put into timeout on Twitter. He's on Getter though as well. Go check him out at Kip Herriage. But just as the new variant is announced, Pfizer announced that if a new variant emerges, they could have a new vaccine ready within 100 days. They called it a tailor-made vaccine for whatever variant it may be. Really interesting timing there. Maybe they're waiting for a new vaccine to come out that is supposed to be more variant resistant. Certainly sounds like something they would do. Got to protect those profits for the same reasons that under FDA emergency authorization use, the only way you can get that FDA emergency authorization is if there is no other drug on the market, right? So if you're talking about, and I'm not even going to say the names of them, but you know what I'm talking about out there, the other therapeutics for coronavirus. They banned those not because they don't work really, but because they won't be able to get the FDA emergency approval if there is another option out there. So that's a big reason. I think a lot of people, I was reminded of that point just last night actually, and it just clicked once again. That's why. That's the reason why these other medications have been so demonized. But this is the new subscription model that they want everybody to be on, right? Just like your cable plan gets billed, just like your computer needs updates and you need virus software. Now they want to implement that to your body. If they can take it to that level, what else can they do to you, right? It's like a carbon tax. They want to literally tax the air you breathe. That's the government's job. That's all they want to do. The government creates nothing. We, the people, create everything. There's no such thing as a government-funded program. These are taxpayer-funded programs paid for by us and then now causing restrictions on us here. So, folks, this stops when we say it stops. And I know that so many of you here, of our listeners, are part of that camp already, so I'm preaching to the choir here. But needs to be said, especially on a day like today, get a little worked up about it. Got to talk about it here. Very grateful to have the platform that we have and to have the viewers that we do. So want to be always using that for something good. So thank you again for being here with us. Again, we love what we do. So on that note, let's jump in to what we focus on here most and taking a look at our markets, which today looked like they're already starting to shrug off some of those fears about the new variant, rallying well off from Friday's sell-off. Some of our major indexes, some of the smaller ones, not the NASDAQ, but like the NASDAQ 100, got back all of its gains, got back all of its losses from Friday. So really, on the surface, a pretty solid day today, but we won't say we're out of the woods just yet here, at least based off the VRA Investing System. Some stuff I'll get to here on the podcast. The internals weren't as good as we would have liked to have seen. Saw a few other areas as well that caused a little bit concern. But again, overall, we would say not out of the woods just yet. But looking at our markets on the day today, NASDAQ leading the way, up 1.88% on the day to 15,782. And tech leading the way is exactly what you want to see. But it was primarily the mega cap names. The Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, all leading the way, up between 1.5% to 2.5% or so on the day today for all of those, which if you've tuned in to some of our podcasts, especially last week, but we've been covering this all year, our market has seen these little internal rotations that's what we've been calling it, where the rest of our market sells off, but the mega caps hold us at our all-time highs. And then when the other names, the smaller names that don't quite make up as much of the major indexes are oversold, they come back and rally while the FANG names take a little break, taking us again to all-time highs. It's one of the major reasons we haven't seen massive corrections this year. Usually we have a few more sell-offs of a slightly larger size than we've seen this year. But even with Friday's major sell-off, we really didn't get anywhere outside of 5% away from all-time highs. So it wasn't too bad at all. So again, the mega caps holding us at all-time highs, right in the range of all-time highs, and especially in tech. The tech sector as a whole, just about a little over 2% away from an all-time high. Same with the semis, which I'll get to here in a second. But next up here was the S&P 500, up 1.32% to 4,655, followed there by the Dow, up 0.68% to 35,135. And then lastly for the day, interesting here, the Russell 2000 started off the day strong, at least right out of the gate was looking strong. And then sold off, but then started to rally back, getting a lot of its gains back. Ollie wants to say hello over here. Getting a lot of those losses back, but before the close, sold off once again. We did finish off the lows of the day, but not by a lot here for the small caps. So we want to see small caps playing along here as well. So again, one of the signs telling us we aren't quite out of the woods here yet. One bullish sign we did see was the VIX. After its massive day on Friday, lost 20% today, 19.78%, back down to a 22 here. Still elevated, even compared to what we've seen recently, but good to see that sell off quite a bit. Also, the fear and greed index, just wow. This is pulled back significantly here. It was up by a lot today, but after Friday's sell-off, it finished at a 33. That's pretty significant considering a week and a half ago, we were at 87 or so. So we fell to a 64 a week ago, and then now on Friday we got to a 33, and then now back to a 44. Still fear territory, so good to see some of the excessive bullishness removed from this market here. Again, though, we would say not out of the woods just yet. Looking at our internals on the day, this is where we really would have liked to have seen better numbers today. Advancing stocks did beat out declining stocks on the NYSE, but on the NASDAQ, which led the way, declining stocks outpaced advancing issues by over 700, or right around 700 on the day. So not quite 2-to-1 negative territory, but still, that's not a good reading on a day when you're up nearly 2% on the NASDAQ. Then new 52-week highs to lows, which can be a little bit of a lagging indicator here, really gave us a letdown here today. On the NASDAQ, we saw 346 stocks hitting 52-week lows, with only 57 stocks hitting 52-week highs. Pretty incredible, again, that we're right in the range of our all-time highs, again, that many stocks hitting 52-week lows. Again, can be a bit of a lagger, but not what you want to see on the day. Similar story from the NYSE, coming in over 3.5 to 1 negative on the day today. And then lastly, volume could be considered a bright spot here. Did come back positive. All right, let me get a little refresh here, because sometimes these numbers do update within about 30 minutes after the close. So yeah, we did get a slightly positive reading, not by a lot, really about even, but it was positive for the NASDAQ. So not all bad, but it was negative for the NYSE today. So again, these are readings that we don't love here. Tells us again, we're not out of the woods just yet. Once we start to get some improvement there, we'll feel really good about it and be ready to jump back in both feet to this market. And not that we have taken some profits. About 2 weeks ago, we started taking profits, a little bit before that as well, and still have some positions. But before we add new positions, we want to be in the clear. Looking at our sectors on the day, if you just looked at this, you'd think it was a really strong day out there. We finished with all 11 S&P 500 sectors higher on the day. Tech led the way. And then just what you want to see, though, semis leading tech. We got AMD right at or hitting an all-time high, I believe, today. And a lot of the other mega semiconductor names finished up strong as well. But the semis as a whole up a big 4%. Actually, we did get a little bit of a sell-off into the last few minutes. So let's check this out. Yep, 4.01% on the semis. Good day today there as well, and right in the range. We had another day like that, we're hitting an all-time high there as well. Next up here was consumer discretionary, utilities, and real estate, while our laggards on the day were industrials, financials, and healthcare. And on that variant news, you'd think you'd see Pfizer, getting back massive day. Moderna actually did have a pretty good day, but Pfizer down about 3% on the day today. And finally for today, our VRA commodity watch. Gold now down 0.17% on the day to $1,785 an ounce. Silver up on the day 0.15% to $23.17 an ounce. Copper up pretty big on the day, 1.37% to $4.34 a pound. And then oil. Been really interesting. On the fears of a new variant. And today in a press conference, Jen Psaki said that they weren't going to rule out lockdowns. We're getting mixed messages here, because we did see somebody else in the Biden, it might have been Biden himself, saying that they weren't going to think about lockdowns here again. Jen Psaki saying they're not going to leave anything off the table, though. But on that news of the new variant, oil fell a big 13% on Friday, falling below $70 a barrel for the first time since September. Then today, as the market looked like it was going to completely shrug off any news about a new variant, oil was up big this morning, got up all the way almost back to $73 a barrel. Again, started off the day below $70 a barrel, so that's a big move in oil. It was up about 7% earlier in the session, but finishing closer to the lows of the day today. Still higher, though, up 2.23% at $69.67 a barrel, so still below that $70 a barrel mark here. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Energy stocks did do all right on the day today, though. And then finally for today, let's get a last read on Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, up pretty big today. A lot of these cryptos up nicely today. Bitcoin up 3.42% to 58,275 a Bitcoin. Folks, that is all that we have time for here today. Please be sure to subscribe to receive our VRA podcast every day at the market close. Again, please join us. We'd love to have you with us on Rumble as well. Want to support that platform as much as possible. You can find us at Vertical Research Advisory. And then also, if you just want to get our daily podcast in your email every day at the market close, you can sign up at VRAinsider.com. Click the podcast link at the top, and we'd love to have you with us. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you back here tomorrow for the close.